Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Zappa here, back again with Hunter x Hunter. We're on episode 108, and in the last episode we have Killua, who is now fully healed, and he's going back to, back to the mission and all that, which is great, because obviously he sustained quite some injuries last time, and it's nice to see him back on his feet. We've also got Ikalgo, the little octopus dude, who is now going to be a permanent member of the team, which I like, because, he's funny and I like him. We'll have Knuckle and Mello, who's getting friendly. Just like a Calgo, Mello is obviously one of the crew as well right now. So it's going to be great to see like how these members how they link up. Especially going up against the Royal Guards and everything like that. Leol, the Chimera, the Lion Chimera, and's dead. He drowned, which he didn't do himself any favors by using that ability. But he's dead. Morel sucking all of the air out of the room, basically making Leol lightheaded because he was just inhaling carbon dioxide, so it was kind of poisoning him, and fell in the water and drowned. The other thing is Palm is, she's kind of on her way now to try and get a look at the Royal Guards and the King. Hopefully, she's come up with some red aura, which is not good. And I mean, we've seen what happened to Nov when he was exposed to the blue aura. I can only imagine what the red aura would do. But it is Palm, and so I am holding out something that she has some mental strength to get through it. But I feel like, theory-wise, I feel like she's going to battle it anyway because of her determination to, of her love for Nov and everything like that, to get the plan done. But I think she's going to get out alive, but I think it's probably going to screw her up in some way by being exposed to that aura. It depends on whether or not she's using Zetsu or not, in some form, some form of protection against the aura. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure we'll get some information on that in this episode, which we're going to get into right now because there's nothing else to really talk about. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to get in episode 108 and see what we get. Let's go. Okay, episode 108, and I kind of saw this coming. I could see what it was building to, from quite a number of episodes back, because, well, maybe not quite a number of episodes, maybe like 2 episodes, maybe 3 at a push, but anyway, the idea that he keeps playing Gungi with this girl, keeps losing, and having fun with it, you could just see that it was building to something like this. And honestly, I did have a moment of doubt towards the end of that episode there, when he basically accepts that physical strength and everything like that conquers all. So it would be a case of just well, why does it matter if I need to beat somebody at Gungi when I can just kill them anyway, and then that way I win. And I mean, if he had have done a reverse and he came away with nothing from that, and he literally just reverted back to what he was before, I think I would have been pissed off at the writing, because it would have been all that Gungi would have been for nothing, because the thing that was making that actually interesting in a game that doesn't exist, know absolutely nothing about it, all that time just spent seeing 531 Lieutenant General, anything like that, would have been just dead. It would have been nothing. It wouldn't have mattered. And to make that one of the more interesting parts of the show, a game that nothing about. The reason why it was so good and everything like that was because of the the relationship that was building between Meryem and Komugi. So I figured that this would be sort of the thing that we would be building towards. It would eventually get to this point. I didn't think it would be that quick. I thought it would have been a case of Meryem would have went into Komugi's room, went to go attack her, but then stopped at the last second, and he would be fighting with himself. I didn't expect a bird to be in there attacking Komugi. And then because of that, it's great because I think he's fighting with himself, with like his natural instinct, which is the be the physically strong and revert back to the old way, like his old way, versus like this human sort of empathy that he is gradually getting over the course of the show, and it's because of Komugi. I'm sure, like I talked about it a few episodes back, that like it's going to be like, this is going to be the girl that like that changes his way of thinking. I'm sure I said that. I'm sure I quoted that. So it seems that is the case. I'm a bit concerned about what the consequences of this relationship will be, though, because now he's in protective mode, and if anything happens to her, which, I mean, honestly, if we're talking like percentages, I'm almost like 90% sure that something bad's going to happen to Komugi, just because it's because of the consequence of the king going nuts because of that is a possibility now. And I'm actually tempted to say that it's going to be Shia that may be the crux in this. Yuppie, I don't think so. I have my suspicions that because them two are kind of on the same wavelength regarding that it's going to be one of them that ends up hurting her, possibly even killing her. And because of that, like, he's going to go nuts, and then he's got nothing to, and then there's nothing to sort of to stop Meryem after that point. I can see the show. I can see like the story heading that way, because then it's a case of like, the king didn't need anybody or anything, and then he grew to really like this girl. If she goes, he's got nothing left, and it goes to. It sounds the reason that he will just go absolutely insane, and then he'll be stronger than he ever was, kind of thing. I can see that being the case. It's interesting, especially with like Shia over the course of, because he's been an interesting sort of third party to the whole Gungi thing. Like, he's the one that's been watching it sort of unfold, and it's interesting in this episode specifically. I guess it happened in previous episode, like where Meryem ripped his own arm off and stuff like that, and attacked Shia and things. That Shia has this fight with himself also. Meryem is having his fight with himself, over natural instinct versus the human empathy thing that he's getting. But Shia was as well, and it's interesting that the reason why he was almost going to kill Komugi was like, all of it is for the king. He wants the best for the king's welfare and everything like that. And it's funny watching him like sort of fight with himself over the best that what's the best for the king, but also the fact that the king needs to defeat like Komugi at Gungi, otherwise like Shia would have taken it upon himself to fucking to rid Meryem of that victory, so therefore he can't do it. It's a great like sort of it's an interesting fight that he has with himself, and Shia's definitely had some character development as well, because he didn't have any. The only one left who hasn't now is Yuppie, really, because he hasn't really had much screen time. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what does happen. It is interesting that, because from like the very beginning with the king and the royal guards and stuff, the one that Meryem took a liking to was Nehapido, right? And she is the only one that doesn't like, clearly doesn't like backtalk him or like talk behind his back, give him some shit. Like, I guess Yuppie and Shia don't either, but like, it is interesting because you have like Shia and Yuppie basically like they're on the same wavelength. Like, oh yeah, we should kill her because she's not good for for the way the king's thinking. Whilst Neferpito literally just sits there and just doesn't, I don't think she wants to entertain that fact. So it is interesting that that sort of relationship with the royal guards and how Neferpito is kind of different from the other two, But yeah. So Palm, we still haven't seen her, and there hasn't been no mention of it between the royal guards, which makes me think that she's still alive. I guess I don't know, because I figured that there would have been something said between the I thought there would have been something said between the royal guards. The king wouldn't care anyway because he's, the only thing he really cares about right now is Gungi and Komugi. So I don't think he would have said anything. But between just a one-off line, saying we need to be careful because there are, we're getting infiltrated. This woman, like the woman that cropped up before. So I thought there would have been something if that was the case. But then again, they can be these characters that don't really care about it anyway. So it's just like a one-off. Oh, well, I'm dead. Don't care. Don't need to think about you ever again. So who knows? But she was supposed to be out by now. And you know what? I kind of want to upgrade my theory a bit on the Palm thing. I feel like Komugi will have something to do with it. If Palm can't get a look at the other royal guards, then maybe Komugi might be a good shout as well. I guess that only really... I guess it only really matters if Palm knows the relationship between the two. But I don't know, if she's hiding out and she manages to see something happen, go down... if she saw, what just happened there with the bird and stuff. I don't know. Maybe she might be able to smart enough to figure something out there that maybe she is valuable to him, and therefore it's a good use of reconnaissance kind of thing. But yeah, he has the problem is that it works via a crystal ball, meaning that if you see one, you can kind of see a little area around them as to what's happening, who they're with. So even though, for instance, if she was to see Komugi, and then use that blood magic to look at her, surely within the crystal ball you will see her playing Gungi with the king, because it would be in a close enough vicinity to where you could see that happen. Now, if that's the case, then that could be something that happens. If she sees Komugi, that's, it's not like she went out and managed to see all the royal guards or anything like that, but at least she came away with some information, and unbeknownst to her at the time, it just turned out to be the person that Meryem cares about the most. So therefore they're going to be close quite a lot of the time. So yeah, it's kind of just a shot in the dark because I don't know what is happening with Palm at the moment. Like I said last episode, the last time we saw her was last episode, when the aura was about it was kind of in and around her. So it's anyone's guess right now as to where she is, what she if she is alive or anything like that. But I don't know. I just find it sort of a good. It's a good sort of coincidence at this time, that this whole the whole human side of Meryem, where he's caring for this little girl, is happening in the exact same time that Palm is in there and needs to be able to see people in order to keep an eye on them through her crystal ball. That it would be a good time to have Komugi is one of those that she can track, considering how close they are. But we'll wait and see. What else? So yeah, the plan is actually to use the citizens as a distraction, because they would think that when they are coming through, and if they disappear a day earlier, they would think that this is how they get to the king is by, assassins hiding within the, all of the people and stuff, which is great. And then from there they can just, carry on like that. That's the whole sneak attack. It's all going to really depend upon that sneak attack, I think. The initial blow is what makes, is what gives them their advantage. So we'll have to see what does happen with that. Shia was talking about how he wanted to speed up the post-selection process, which is interesting. I don't know what that specifically relates to. I thought when he was saying it, I thought he was talking about the selection. I thought it was they were going to move it a day earlier or whatever. So the so that it would kind of fuck up the plans that Gon, Killua, Knuckle, and Shoot and everything's all of them are doing. But no, it's the post-selection process. So Shia said that he wants them to get out immediately after, which is interesting because apparently he got some news or something. So yeah, I don't think that that's ever been explained, what news and the reason why they need to speed that up. But I'm sure. I don't even know if we'll find out really, because if the attack is coming during the selection process, then the post-selection process isn't really going to happen anyway. Because they'll be in the middle of fighting. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, we had Komugi as well. She never forgets her own moves, what she uses anyway. As long as she places the pieces around, and then she has she just never forgets them. And I was wondering, it can't be a Nen thing. I don't think she's learned Nen. I don't think she has anything about that at all. So I guess it's just some innate ability that she has. Without the use of obviously her eyes, everything just becomes touch and feel and somehow that can relate to I guess it's less information that she needs to keep stored within her brain. When you just don't have the use of your eyes, it's it could be something just similar to that. She's able to remember things more because but then again, a lot of the time people with picture photographic memories and stuff like that, they need the use of their eyes, I suppose. But I don't know, maybe it's something similar to feel that it's it would be photographic memory because obviously she doesn't have the use of her eyes, but if it's something similar to that, I guess that's what it is, and it's just some kind of innate ability that she has. But yeah, apparently she's only just awoke at this point, which means that she can still get better and better. I mean, she was the champion before, but now she's now the sky's the limit. So yeah. What else? Yeah, so we had Meryem, who was shocked by the whole name thing. For the first time, he figured out what is my name? And I don't think he's ever going to get it, or even. I mean, that's the thing. Is the Queen called him Meryem, but didn't he give the Didn't the Queen give the order to Cold to go tell him his name? And that I don't see that happening. So I don't know where the information's going to come from, for him to take a hold of that name, other than I don't know, because Gon was there, right? So if Gon is in a fight with him, I can see Gon spurting out Meryem or something, and that he's what did you call me? I can probably see something like that happening, I suppose. But yeah, because it's the light of the world or something like that. That's what it means, right? It's something like that. But yeah, we had Shia Puff obviously just kind of testing his patience a lot with the king over these past few episodes. And that's why I believe that if anything's going to happen to Komugi, it's going to be down to Shia that does it. Obviously, with Shia being it's best, doing it for the best, because it's the best for the king. But it's but the king's not going to say it that way. I feel yeah, Shia is just, he has been testing his patience. So I'm sure that's going to come down to something, and I feel it's going to have to do with Komugi at the behest. And I don't like that, because I don't want anything to happen to her. We must protect this girl at all costs. But now that she's within, now that there's this relationship is kind of forming, it means that she is so easily. She can just be like, the character of Komugi can just be used as a tool now to anger Meryem, and so like on the death list, I guess, if there was one of at this moment, like, who's certain to die, she's like up there now. I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, I just hope that she is completely blissfully unaware of it happening, and she goes out peacefully. Just that, please, God. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I've got. I mean, at the very beginning, I'm surprised that he even allowed Komugi to take a break, because beforehand it was all like, you're not taking a break this time. Now, I'm glad that was the case as well, because I feel like he wouldn't. He was smart enough to realize that he would never get any satisfaction from beating somebody who wasn't at their best anyway. So I'm glad that he allowed, it's interesting because it's creeping up on him. Like, Meryem doesn't realize that he's actually starting to care for her, while it gradually happens over the course of the episodes. Like, when he says next time you're not going to be able to take a break, and then he gives her a break, but at that point, like, he doesn't comprehend it as like caring for her, So yeah, and then back and forth as well, because then you got Komugi who's actually teaching him like moves and stuff, and like, what should I have done here and stuff like that, which is something that they didn't show before. They just showed them, having matches and stuff, and Meryem was just learning, by playing, as opposed to like actually going through the moves in detail and stuff like that, which is what they're doing now. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got, but it is very interesting, and I like the direction and the character development that Meryem is getting, because if you remember before, I kind of, when he was very young and he'd literally just become a character, there was obviously nothing there, like there wasn't anything that like stood out to me as. It just seemed like he just wanted to kill things, and that was it, But, somebody made a very good point, actually. I believe when I said, like, the episode that I mentioned that, somebody did leave a comment saying it's easy to sort of forget that, he's literally just been born. It's just because he looks like he's older than, like, he's not like a newborn baby. It's easy to sort of forget that he was literally just born, like, yesterday, So therefore, he doesn't have anything other than real just instinct, and now that he's learning, we're actually seeing the character development, and it's great. I love it. So yeah, that was all I've got. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I've linked certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you want to. And I also have a Patreon page as well. So if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's the early access tier, $5 a month. That gives you access to shows a week early, and you get 4 episodes of Hunt x Hunt every week. That's 2 on Monday and 2 on Friday, as opposed to the YouTube general public that only get access to 2 episodes a week. So by the time this episode comes out on YouTube for the general public, I'll be finished the show. So if you can binge watch the entire show, like the rest of the show from now until then, within a month, then it's only going to cost you $5 for the early access to watch my reactions to the rest of the show. So it's a pretty good deal. There's also full length tier there for $10. That doesn't matter for this show, but for other shows you will need it. And then for there are other tiers where you can pay to have certain shows reacted to. So if you want me to react to a show, then go check out what those tiers offer and everything like that. But that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.